There's no way the Bulls just lost this game. You cannot sit there and tell me the Bulls lost this game to a team with the worst offensive rating in the league, a team that has the fewest home wins in the NBA, a team that is the third worst team in the entire league, the worst three-point shooting team by percentage, which, by the way, at one point during this game, they missed 18 straight three-pointers, but still somehow managed to win the game. You can't tell me the Bulls, who led by 10 halfway through the third quarter, let a Hornets team finish the game off going 50-25 from that point on. You can't tell me they got outscored in the fourth quarter 34-17 against the Charlotte Hornets. And no disrespect to the Hornets, I'm sure there will be a couple of Hornets fans that might come across this video, but come on now. The Hornets are a bad team. How is it that we've gotten to this point with this Bulls team? How is it that the Bulls are still, since the beginning of the season, struggling with these same issues and not doing anything about it? How is it that a group of guys play with such little energy, effort, so lethargic, and quite frankly don't even seem to care how bad they look out there? We're 40 games into the season. The Bulls are 22-26. 22-26. It's not like this is the rebuilding team that the new front office inherited a couple years ago. It's not like this is a bunch of young guys who are still figuring things out. This is a veteran team with veteran star players, a team that was constructed to win now, a team for which you traded 3 first-round picks to assemble, a team that you spent so much of your cap space on to win now, and they're 22-26, now tied for 10th in the Eastern Conference, barely hanging on to get to the final spot in the play-in. Absolutely pathetic for where the Bulls find themselves right now. And yeah, I get it, I'm kind of reacting in the heat of the moment, but what bothers me about the way I've seen this team play all season is the lack of fight in them. It's the lack of mental fortitude to get through the trying times. It's the lack of energy and sense of pride they have when they put on a Bulls uniform. The Chicago Bulls fan base, the diehards, we love this team. And the fan base is one of the biggest global fan bases in the NBA. We take pride in this team. We take pride in our fandom and what this legendary franchise once was back in the greatest dynasties in the NBA. If you're going to put the Bulls jersey on to represent not just the city of Chicago, but the Bulls fan base at large, you better have some pride in return and bring it your all on a nightly basis. You better come out and play like it's your last game and do everything in your power to win. Because Bulls fans, we don't mess around. Not saying we're always right, but I think we can all agree we Bulls fans aren't very forgiving when you play with piss poor effort. It's why Bulls fans love Joakim Noah, Kirk Hinrich, hell, even more recently, Thaddeus Young. You're talking about guys who weren't necessarily the best players, the most talented on the court, but you knew they were always going to give you maximum effort no matter what. And they let their teammates hear about it if they weren't giving the same level of energy. It's why you've heard quite a few boos at the United Center this season when the Bulls played like crap. We have little tolerance for this. And look, I don't need to tell you how big of an opportunity has been wasted this week with the easy schedule that the Bulls had before them. Bulls beat the Hawks to win 3 in a row. They're 2 games below 500. Then they have the Pacers, the Hornets, Magic ahead of them. This could easily have been a 6-game winning streak, and the Bulls back above 500 as a result of it, and sitting 7th in the East. You come into Indy, have a great first half, mess around in the second half, and blow a 21-point lead. And then, more of the same stuff tonight. And really, tonight was even worse because, first of all, the Hornets are a worse team than the Pacers. And second, at least the Bulls competed well for part of that game. In this game, there was never really a stretch where it felt like the Bulls looked good out there. They had a couple nice runs, but it was really more so due to the fact that the Hornets played like absolute crap on offense, and the Bulls were just getting free stops as a result of it. I mean, looking at the Hornets box score, they shot 22% from 3, 7 for 32. LaMelo Ball alone was 2 for 15 from the field and 2 for 11 from 3. They turned the ball over 14 times. Their defense was lousy throughout this game, and yet they still won the game by 15 points. How do you not take advantage of that? It would be one thing if you came into Charlotte and they just had a really good game. Like every bad team just has those really good games every once in a while. But no, the Hornets played like trash and still embarrassed the Bulls, whooping them in the fourth quarter. Because as bad as the Hornets were tonight, the Bulls were even worse. The Bulls shot 4 for 25 from 3, 16%. They couldn't hit a jump shot to save their lives in this game. They were 40% from the field overall. They let the Hornets out-rebound them 52-43. The Bulls had a season low 16 assists tonight as a team. 16 assists. Where is the passing? Where is the ball movement? Where was the defense tonight? All of it just bad. And bad is a polite way of saying it, really. It was pathetic how these guys showed up against one of the worst teams in the NBA. Zach Lavine tonight, -25. Nikola Vucevic, -23. Io, -24, although he was the only player that wasn't horrendous from the field tonight, going 5 for 7. Even DeRozan struggled to get his shot to fall down. He was 9 for 21. The Bulls, simply put, did not come to play tonight. And it's funny because we were all starting to believe that this Paris trip could be the one great team bonding experience that really brings this group together, that brings them closer, and it starts to show on the court. And initially it looked that way, right? From the Paris game itself to the game against the Hawks, all the way through that first half against the Pacers, and then everything has just fallen by the wayside from there. When you look at the body language of these guys, whether it be on the court or in the middle of a timeout, they look checked out most of the time. They look like it's finally sunk in that this is a lost season. How they're not as good as they thought they were, and how there isn't much to look forward to for the future. But again, it's all about the mental resiliency in these moments. Are you mentally strong enough to handle the ups and downs of an NBA season? And I hate to say it, aside from a handful maybe, I don't think most of these guys do. I wouldn't consider this to be a mentally strong team by any stretch of the imagination. That's the one thing I appreciated about those Bulls teams when Rose was out for the season after he tore his ACL. They knew they weren't going to be able to contend for a title without him. But they were incredibly strong mentally and played like they could beat any team regardless if they didn't have Derrick Rose, and still managed to finish above 500 and get to the playoffs, even winning a playoff series, despite the fact that most said they would likely be a lottery team without Rose. I miss those teams. I miss that fight, spirit, and energy, and you simply don't have it with this group. And as a Bulls fan, it's very frustrating. It's by far and away more frustrating to watch this team, a team that should be good, that had high expectations, play like this over watching some of the rebuilding teams, because at least those teams were expected to be bad, and even then, they would give you some effort. Something has to be done as we approach the trade deadline. There is no way this front office can just sit by idle and be okay with this roster and what they're doing. There's just no way. There will be an uproar among Bulls Nation if they simply stay put at the deadline. Like, that was already clear before, but now after these last 2 games, the fact that we're almost 50 games into the season and they're 4 games below 500, no, continuity doesn't win out here. They have to pivot to something else. Waiting until the offseason isn't going to cut it either, and seeing how things look once Lonzo Ball comes back. The Bulls have way bigger problems than just the injury to Lonzo Ball. I still can't believe they gave Billy Donovan an extension either. Good grief. Anyway, we've been calling this the Bulls therapy session. Hope this rant maybe made you feel a little better in this frustrating time to be a Bulls fan. And man, I hope somehow some of these Bulls players see this so it lights a fire under them to either play your ass off or get out. Anyway, guys, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.